I would say that they were right in one sense, that the first year of marriage is the hardest, because as good as it was, every year's been better. And I want more people to come out of the woodwork to talk about that.
Hey guys, welcome to the Something New Show. I'm Mindy Linscomb, your host, and we are here to learn a lot more on how to live a life worth celebrating. And I am kind of fangirling, I'm not going to lie, that I have Clark Beckham in my studio, in my home today, actually, because we're actually going to do an event tonight, and that's going to be a whole nother story. But Clark, thank you for traveling to Colorado Springs.
It's been awesome. It's a bucket list area that I've always wanted to go to, and thank you for bringing me here.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. We're going to have a private concert for our staff, and they celebrate people for a living every single day. So it's really nice to turn the table and say, hey, we want to celebrate you. And that's what we're doing tonight. But man, I have been just maybe in the last year introduced to you via Instagram and YouTube, and kind of like went down, you know how you meet somebody online and you don't even know them, but you're like, I feel like I know them.
Yeah.
So I was like, I feel like I know Clark. And you had put out something like, hey, I'm thinking about doing a home show. Like, would anybody be interested in this? Just or comment home, I think it was. Yeah. And I was like, that's a crazy idea. So then I just did it to see like what are the chances that it was within our budget, or we could bring you out and all this stuff. Sure. And it worked out. So here we are. And I'm glad we could fit in a podcast, because I think your story is incredibly fascinating. And he's a musician. He has a lot of album releases, but he's a famous YouTuber. I would say a lot of people might know you through your famous critiques of American Idol contestants and episodes, but there's so much about you as an entrepreneur that I respect, and I've loved how you pivoted quickly and use your skill sets and your passions in like different ways to accomplish like what you enjoy. And it's also providing a living, which entrepreneurs also want to use their craft to make a living. And I think that's pretty respectable. So thank you. And I can't wait to get into like the beginning of when I think of Clark. Like, I wonder, when did music become like something he loved?
Yeah. Well, first, I'm honored that you're fascinated by my life story, and I'm fascinated by your fascination, because, you know, it's your own life. You don't think about it so much.
Weird? What's unique?
It's just like the life you have. But that's cool. I'm looking forward to just the perspective that you have, and maybe kind of giving myself like, hey, this is pretty cool. You know, you do have a life worth celebrating, which is another really interesting just phrase that I've been thinking about since you said it. But the moment, it's actually a very, very clear, distinct moment when I fell in love with music. I remember I was probably 3 or 4 years old, and I was sitting on the ground in my living room and watching The Land Before Time. And there is the first movie, there is a sequence where their Littlefoot gets separated from his parents, and like this weird stampede. I don't know why there's a stampede, and then he finds this tree star, and the whole series, like, tree star is like it's like the gem of their whole life, the whole existence. Like that's the special thing. And there's a moment in the soundtrack. It's called, if you want to hear it, if you go to Spotify, just type in Whispering Winds. At 1 minute and 8 seconds, there's this oboe solo, of all things. And it just hits this certain chord.
Can you hum it?
And melody. Yeah, it's almost started humming the Jurassic Park theme song, which is another
powerful, very
powerful. We have a piano right there. I wish I could just play it, but it's like da 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 da, which is just a really pretty flowy melody, but then it goes to a point of tension. Da na 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 da, and that note itself ruined me. 3 years old, and it felt like the note came out this oboe came out and just gripped my soul and pulled me through the television. And I remember feeling that so deeply and like just never experiencing anything like that. And that was, I mean, the chord still to this day, like haunts me. It's a sharp 11 chord, whatever that means to you, but it's just this gorgeous dissonance. And from there it was Disney songs and, you know, what you listened to as a kid, but and church stuff when I was growing up in church. But that was the very first thing that hit me.
Wow. Are you from a musical family?
Yeah. My dad was a professional for a long time, guitar player and background singer. He toured with the Righteous Brothers, with Dolly Parton and I think Tanya Tucker, and just that was his job for a long time. Nashville.
Okay.
He had me after all of that though. So he had me at 47. So he was a professional guitar player and background singer on the road for 30 years. Met my mom in Nashville. When he moved to Nashville to be a songwriter and settled down, met her there, they had me. And my mom's a wonderful singer, was my music teacher basically growing up through school. So both parents were very musical.
And did you have like a first instrument that they're like, you got to learn this first? Or were they just always just subtly teaching you through things?
They didn't teach me a thing that I didn't ask for first, which I really point to as an important decision that they made, which was they only encouraged me to take guitar lessons when I was trying to play the guitar and not doing a good job. Like I was always the first person to pick up the instrument or go to the piano and try to play. They never said, you should learn how to do this.
I totally have to tell you and confess, I am making my children take guitar lessons right now. But they played other instruments that they loved. But I was like, you know what's so great about a guitar? And this is my perspective. I'm a baby musician. I mean, I played piano for years and then taught lessons when I was like out of college. But I was like, you guys, you can't carry anything else anywhere in the world. But you can like literally walk up to a guitar. Most people have one laying around and you can lead.
100%.
Lead the moment.
100%.
So I'm guilty of not doing what your parents did.
No, it's different for everybody, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, but that's good in general. That's really also good parenting advice for like just life skills. If they're like interested in changing tires, like, oh, this is the time to show them instead of forcing them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's good.
And I think there's a part of it where my mom and dad didn't want me to like go into music because they know, especially my dad, like he was a background singer and guitar player, but what he really wanted to do was be an artist himself, and he knew how hard it was. And it is really hard. And I really hope my kids are interested in something else.
You do?
Oh, yeah. I hope they have music as a wonderful hobby, but I hope that they get really interested in a different profession, because it is really hard, and I've been incredibly blessed and fortunate to have the career that I have, but it is like 0.1% chance kind of a thing. At least that's what it feels like.
I agree. And it is kind of something, this is why I liked watching your YouTube channel about American Idol, because it's like, there have been times where I feel, at least I think you would agree, that you're like, why isn't that person that's maybe like technically way more skilled, like winning and like taking top charts, right?
Yeah.
And then somebody is like maybe not nearly as skilled, but maybe has the charisma or the like, you know how to work the stage, and you're like, okay, well, and they're killing it, you know?
Yeah.
But maybe from a skill standpoint, somebody else, like you said, top 1%, it's super hard to get there.
Yeah. And skill is just a tiny piece of the pie, like anything is. I mean, I'm sure you could make you could use that as an analogy for pretty much anything in business, or like sports is really easy. Like people were talking about Usain Bolt when he was, the fastest man in the world. And they were saying, I think he'd run like a 4 flat 40, which is absurdly fast. Like, what would he do if he played football? It's like he would get destroyed and he would not be good at football.
Right.
Because he's fast, but he's never played football. Like and it's kind of like, but you're such a great singer. Why aren't you a pop star? It's like the same equivalent. Like it's just one piece of the pie. And you really have to have an entrepreneurial mindset to make it. But I think that's the biggest disillusion, is that it's a meritocracy and the only merit is musical ability.
Really quick, if you had to say, like, what's the trifecta, like this person.
Strategy, like the entrepreneur type. What's the best way to do this? Adaptability, and everything that has nothing to do with music. You can call that, I guess, just strategic work ethic. A work ethic, not just to work hard, but to work really smart and to never like settle for an average output input situation and always go. So that's the biggest thing. And then 2 is your unique self. How interesting and how much value can people get from the art that you come out with? And that value has nothing to do with your talent. The only talent is how clearly can I paint the picture of what's inside of me, and how much do people need that picture? That's really what.
I think that's why Hannah won.
Yeah, of course, great example. Like that's really what makes someone outstanding. And people, Sammy Davis Jr., one of my favorite, maybe the most underrated singer of all time. Totally. One of my favorite singers ever. He was crushing all these concerts, but couldn't get a leg up, couldn't get any success. And he wrote in his book that he found out from watching Frank Sinatra that the key was to make people root for him. And so then he started doing comedy in his set, and he started changing things that he did to have the narrative where people would know him, and then people were rooting for him, and then he blew up. So that's one part of it too. And then musical ability would be, I'd probably have to say 5 more things, 5 more traits that are more important than musical ability.
Mm-hmm. Love it. Okay, going back to your life story, because I think it's so interesting, and I'm glad that I can point that out to you, because I hope you feel really encouraged by this, is that I see you as an inspiration to so many people that said, hey, maybe I want to go into music, but I don't have to use it in a way where I'm like the guy that's like headliner for everything. Like, you are using music in so many, like, you're performing, but you're also teaching, and you're also speaking, and then you entertain. It's just like there's a variety of ways you're using music. So I kind of am curious, what happened after high school? Did you go study music in college, or what was your goal? Were you like, Mom and Dad, I'm just going to study it, or I want to go for it? Like, what was that?
You know, right out of high school, I loved music as a hobby, and I thought, if I can make a career out of this, that sounds fun. I don't need a college degree to do that. But if music doesn't work out, what am I going to do? I would love to teach high school history. That's what I would love to do. And I'd love to coach sports. I do need a degree for that. So I went to college and studied history and minored in coaching and psychology and Bible, just because I'm interested in a bunch of stuff. And I did all the musical extracurricular activities, but I didn't do music as a major or degree focus. And thank goodness, because candidly, 99% of academia, especially on the college level, university level, is teaching archaic methods of music that leaves musicians having no idea how to actually play the music that would give them a leg up on being an artist today. It'd give you a leg up if you wanted to play like classical music, and I love classical music, but I don't want to play classical music. I see a lot of people wanting to do music, so they're like, well, I got to learn the foundations. It's like, no, that's what all the college people say, because they had to learn all the foundations. So they're making you learn all the foundations, and then you get out, and like the communications major is out singing you and like making better songs and selling more tickets than you, and you have a degree. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I didn't mean to go on that tangent, but that's also connected to like the college stuff that I do now, teaching music theory in a different way. But anyway, back to your question, and back to answering it. What was the question?
You were just saying, I was just kind of curious, did you study music, or like,
did
you say, hey, I might want to do it for a career?
I definitely did learn everything I know about music during college. It was just being around my friends that were studying jazz, that were getting degrees in musical performance and a jazz degree. And then the other half of my friends were these crazy church, Pentecostal, charismatic church gospel players. who could just play unbelievably well, but didn't really know what they were doing. And then all my jazz friends knew what they were doing. So I'd learn something from my church friends, then go to my jazz friends and be like, look at this. What is that? I'm like, oh, it's a backdoor 2-5. It's really cool. What? A backdoor who when? And they would show me and they'd tell me what the name means. And that's how I learned. So I really learned everything in college, even though I was studying history.
Like on the side. Okay, and how old were you? I'm just like thinking how did you even have the idea? Like, I'm going to try out for American Idol. And how old was that? Was that like while you were still in college or right after?
It was right after. I did have a moment my like sophomore, junior year where I got a band together and there was a battle of the bands situation. And I love competition. Like, I just love it so much. And there were some people like kind of talking trash about like my band, like me and my band.
Let's go.
Like, they're not gonna win. Like, they're overrated or da da da. And so that really put a fuel to the fire. And I had my first experience playing with a full band that was fully rehearsed, and they were all monsters. They're all professional players now, and they're still the first guys that I call. They're the best. They're still the best players I know.
Wow.
And we absolutely. It was outside, so there was no roof. But if there was a roof, we would have ripped the roof off of this competition. And we won. And that experience and that feeling of that like magical musical moment, similar to when I was like 3 years old, hearing Land Before Time. Now I'm on stage and there's a synergistic
and feeling
energy thing.
with you.
And then just killing it and then like doing this musical thing so well, knowing what each other are going to do before we do it. And I left the stage and I looked at the keyboard player and I said, how can we do that? And then go get a job doing anything else.
Right.
So there was a turning point moment in that time. And then when I was 22, America's Got Talent reached out, asked me to audition, and The Voice reached out and asked me to audition. I auditioned for both. I don't know if I've ever told the story, but America's Got Talent gave me the thumbs up first, and I reached out to The Voice, and I was like, I'd rather go with you guys, but I'm still waiting to hear if I've made it to the next round. And they're like, basically copy and pasted like the thing they tell everybody. Sorry, we'll let you know within 60 to 90 days. And da-da-da. I'm like, okay, well, take me out because I'm going to go
with the other one,
with the bird in hand, with America's Got Talent. And I went with them. That was not a good experience. And basically
was Simon Cowell on there?
No.
Oh, okay.
I missed Simon on both shows.
Bummer.
But that didn't go well. And so then I was like, okay, these shows are dumb. I don't want to do this. And then my mom was like, American Idol's coming to Nashville. You should try out. And so like most great decisions I've made in my life, I did what my mom told me to do. Mm-hmm. And I auditioned for American Idol. And yeah, the rest is history.
Okay, now there is the story that says you were going to try out the first time and you felt like God told you, like, wait.
Yeah. So you're so right. Right out of high school, the plan was to audition for American Idol because they were coming to Nashville. And a week before that happened, I gave God the power of deciding in my life. I gave everything to him. 100%. That was like the moment that I really feel like I first started to follow Christ was like May 16th or something, 2010, around that time. And I remember saying like, hey, I haven't asked you about this, Lord, but American Idol, like that's cool, right? Like I'm planning to do that. And all I heard was just, where your heart is, there your treasure will be also, or maybe it's the other way around, where your treasure is, your heart will be also, with just this feeling of no, don't do it. And so I decided not to, and everyone told me I was making the wrong decision. And it's tough because sometimes when God speaks to you really clearly, you know for sure like that's what you got to do. And no matter how many times you explain that, people are like, yeah, but you know, what about leaning on your own understanding and not acknowledging him? Like that's what it sounds like everyone's trying to say. But yeah, I didn't. And I'm so glad that I didn't, because instead I went to college and I went to Lee University, and that's really where I found how to put my faith in action and the power of the Holy Spirit and laying hands and praying for people and seeing healings and having my life totally radically changed by God, so that when I did go on American Idol 4 years later, and I was presented with a plethora of worldly things, I just wasn't interested in any of them, like I would have been when I was 18 and a brand new baby infant Christian. Hadn't had those experiences with God in my dorm room, where there was so much fulfillment, just me and him at my desk in Medlin Hall with a notebook, just like praying and seeking him. So that when like whatever it was, fame or romance or money was thrown my way as like a carrot in front of my face, I was like, I see that carrot. I've actually got like a beautiful chocolate cake over here, or a steak, or whatever you want to call God. You can keep the carrot. Like I'm good without it. You
didn't want to like you were in a place where you wouldn't compromise who your integrity was to take that like maybe momentary opportunity.
Yeah, and it just wasn't like today. Like when you know God and you receive from him, like going out deliberately and chasing something of the world, like drugs or like excessive drunkenness, or like name it. It just doesn't sound like a good idea to you, does it?
No.
Doesn't.
No.
But if you don't know God and you're totally unaware and inexperienced with how he can be that, how he can fulfill you, be your all in all, filling everything in every way. Man, I sure feel empty. A lot of people are saying this drug will do it. A lot of people are saying, you just really need to find yourself a woman, or you really need to find yourself a man, or have you tried this? Or even like, have you tried this TV show? Like all of it's like, sure, I'll look for anything because nothing that I've tried works. But when you find the thing that works, all of a sudden all those things don't appeal.
They're not. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And it's also a settledness that comes upon you to know like, hey, like if I miss an opportunity, it's okay, because you trust ultimately that he's got a better plan.
100%. And that really led to the right mentality that I had on American Idol when I was 22, that I don't know if I would have had that at 18. I think I would have at that point, just from the experience I had with God. But you're so right. That's a huge part of it, is that peace that passes all understanding. Because it's like, whether I make it on the show or not, like he's got me, so I'm good to go.
I'm sure that was like a life-changing experience for you.
American Idol?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we wouldn't be sitting here likely.
Like, was that just, I mean, was it overall, though, a total blast?
Yep. Nail on the head. I literally told someone either today or yesterday, verbatim, what you just said. It was a total blast. Yeah, it was a friend of mine who I was on Idol with. Okay. And he was asking, like, would you do another show? I was like, I'd do Idol again if I could, in a heartbeat. It was a total blast. And it was. And part of it is I love competition so much. And it wasn't competition. This is going to sound so corny. It wasn't competition with the other contestants. It was the competition with yourself. It was
like, I want to be better every week. Like, what did I pick up? I mean, at least this is what I would have
said.
It was like, what did I pick up from that feedback that I can course correct so quickly that I never make that mistake again?
Yeah. And to me, competition is, whether it's sports, which was my first love, or anything, or any type of performance, it's here are the obstacles, here are the things that are in your face that should make you not do so well. Can you overcome them and do really well anyway? That's competition. Whether that's a defender in front of you if you're playing basketball, whether that's you being really tired and there's one more play left and like you got nothing, like what else is there? Or if it's you've had 2 hours of sleep and you've got a show in the morning, you have to sing the national anthem at something and you can't like breathe or like, whatever it is.
Can you flow and like the tech has issues, but you have to go anyway? Like
100%.
Like, I love watching people under like intense moments where it's like you don't have another like a wedding, for example. I mean, the wedding, it's like, there's like, the wedding is like, you can't repeat it. You can't let's try again. Like, it's like, that's the moment. And I mean, one of my favorite recent moments from a vocalist was when Carrie Underwood had to sing something at the White House. Or what was it? The Capitol or something?
Yeah.
And it was like, nothing was working for her soundtrack. And she's just like, screw it. And she just starts singing a cappella. And I was just like, cool as a cucumber, you know? And I just appreciate when people can pivot quickly with a plan B. It's actually one of the reasons why I think that entrepreneurs are successful, is that they're really willing to accept that most of the time our plan A doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I can't even tell you if a plan A ever worked in my life. Like, it's always been the alternative route, but because I'm a believer, I'm like, well, that's probably the better route. Like, I just believe that that's the better one. Like I imagine you played out what would have happened if I would have been the winner instead of the runner-up.
Sure.
Like, play that out for us. It's like, but your perspective was so different at 22 because of that being like, okay, I can maybe be disappointed, but I can settle with it because there's maybe a better path.
100%. I even knew, and I knew in my head that was true when I didn't win, but in my heart, I was still, felt rejection. I felt like you lost. And I felt like I did the best I could, and I just felt like I thought I was going to win, and I didn't. And so there's that competitive, just like, oh, you lost. But I knew in my head, I even said when Ryan was like, how you doing? This was right before the announcement. I was like, I know God hasn't led me all the way here to leave me. So whatever happens. And then right after the show, when Nick won, I had a pastor, Buck Marshall, text me, and he was like, you don't know what the future holds, but at least you know who holds the future. And I was like, dang it, I'm tweeting that. So yeah, it's that mentality, of course, but I didn't feel, if I'm honest, I didn't feel it in the moment. I just felt like
for sure.
Bummed.
Yeah. Well, like, fast forward to what you've been able to do today. Like, I think you're doing a bunch of different things today, right? Like, you're teaching, you're putting out really fascinating, like, rearrangements of music. If you guys haven't followed his Instagram, I encourage you to do so, because it's kind of like a little, like, it's a refreshing, different thing in your feed. It's like, oh, I'm just like scrolling. It's like, mom content or business. And it's like, oh, he's going to do a totally new I'm like, that's kind of fun. Like, it's just like a left turn, when you're going through your day. So I'd love for you to tell people, like, okay, you're teaching, you're newlywed, which I love. And I call it a newlywed. Sorry, 5 years.
Newlywed's great. You call it whatever you want.
I still think of you as a newlywed. But I was going to say, I'd love to chat for a second about what you're teaching, what you're enjoying about marriage, and even how you're using your former experience with American Idol to kind of create this brilliant audience on YouTube. Like, I learned from you even as a YouTuber myself. I'm like, oh, I love how he's like, I'm going to pull out a comment. Like, if you guys, like, there's some YouTube strategy that if we had a whole nother like hour together, I'd love to geek out about. Cause I'm like, oh, I love how he was able to get a lot of comments for that or bring people back in. So I look at you as a smart business person too. And I don't know if you're just self-taught or if you just have friends that gave you some suggestions, but I love the mixture of all you're doing, because I kind of feel like I relate. Like, I have a bake bridal store, but I also do this marriage and family podcast. I'm a business coach full time, and I'm a mom, and I'm a wife, and I enjoy though the variety. Mm-hmm. I think I would be kind of bored if it was just one thing, but I would love to hear your variety of what you're doing and what you're enjoying most right now.
I think it really comes down to what you are truly gifted and called and anointed to do. And some people are gifted and called and anointed to do one thing, and that's glorious, and it's great.
Yep.
And other people have that on multiple things. And I think, honestly, I have believed that whatever I'm good at equals what I'm called to, which is not true. Absolutely not true. Because Derek Jeter would probably be a great catcher, but that's not his position. Name LeBron James would be a great center, but that's not his position. Just because you're good at something does not mean it's what you're really called and anointed to do. Mm-hmm. So for me, what I really have learned is I am fully fulfilled and fully alive when I am doing these three things: preaching, teaching, and performing. And I just discovered that by doing it. And there were plenty of things that I put my hand to do that make so much sense for me to be good at and be like, have that be a career piece for me. And I'd even make money doing it. And I'm like, I hate this. And I'm not very good at this. And all I could do is think about all the people who could do this better than me. And then I'd start to feel guilty about the people that I'm getting paid by. I'm like, they could do so much better for what they're, anyway, it didn't fit. But for me, the preaching, teaching, and performing, I feel if I could only do one of those things no, that's not true. I have to do all three of them. I think that's really how you find the variety, is you can have a variety, but you make sure all those things feel deeply connected to you. And performing was first. Teaching was very soon after. I mean, that's what I went to college for, was to teach.
Be a history teacher.
Yeah. And now I'm an adjunct professor at a couple different colleges and love doing that too. Love classroom music theory in a non-traditional way. And then just preaching. I think what drew me to preaching is similar to teaching. But I grew up really struggling to pay attention to the preacher in church. I just remember thinking, I just have to sit here and wait till it's over. I never listened. Like, I'd try, and I'm pretty bad, like, with ADD, like, diagnosed, not just one of those people that just say ADD, but I have ADD, and I just really struggle to lock in and listen to a full sermon and catch it. Even to this day, I really have to focus and take notes. It's hard for me. And so I think the advantage I have because of that is when I preach, I'm preaching for me. I'm preaching for the me that's in the crowd that can't pay attention. Because I remember one time at a kids camp, Reggie Dabbs, I don't know if you ever heard of him.
I totally went to kids camp with Reggie Dabbs.
Reggie Dabbs spoke, and I was glued from the moment he started speaking till the moment we were dismissed. I didn't miss a word. And I'd never experienced that before. Yep. So when I'm speaking now, today, I'm preaching for the young me in the audience who, one, thinks this is stupid, two, doesn't want to be here, three, just you gotta keep it really interesting and really lean into skillful storytelling, not just here are the facts, here's a good point, this is the Bible.
An acronym, here we go, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Sure, like that can work too, but
I'm being sarcastic. Like how that's like, okay, everybody, stand up, it's like, okay, we're gonna do the 4 things today, you know.
Right, like how. So anyway, that's how I come to it. Is I'm preaching for the person in the back row who doesn't want to be here, and I found that when you do that, you catch everybody
from
else
the back to the front,
to the front, who really do want to be there and really are interested. And I'm also so bad with like churchanese, like church talk, spiritual like phrases and stuff. I'm really careful to not just get stuck in those, because I think a lot of times we will say something and we won't know what it means, but we know that it'll make a bunch of people nod their head and go, that's right, that's good.
Make you feel like you know what you're talking about.
100%. And then meanwhile, the kid in the back of the room was like, I don't belong here. I don't know what anyone's talking about. So anyway, those are like
your favorite.
The passions.
How'd you get into YouTubing about American Idol critiques?
It was my manager's idea. Okay. And he's just like, you should do this. And I was like, I'll try it. And I really fell in love with it. And I've done it for a long time. And then.
Yeah. How many seasons have you done it?
I want to say 7 or 8. I don't really know.
Okay.
But I want to say.
Like around there.
Around there. And I love, honestly, what's been my favorite part is all the contestants, which this is not a good thing in general, but all the contestants will watch it. Every season, it's inevitable. They all watch my reviews.
Do they ever reach out to you and ask for like tips?
Yeah. And what's cool is I end up getting a good like friendship with 5 or so of the contestants every season. That's the best part.
Did you get to know any of this season?
Yeah.
Can I ask who?
Yeah, I talked to Jordan quite a bit. And I knew Jordan before, like barely, like just through Instagram DMs.
Or whatever. I mean,
yeah,
or maybe not.
We had done a couple things that we were kind of adjacent to each other, and but
gosh, he was good.
He's the man, and he's so humble, and he's exactly who you would hope he is.
I believe
he's wonderful.
I feel like I could even feel that.
Yeah, but I talked to a lot of them, and it's inevitably like. Most of the contestants are cool with me, And then there's about 20%, maybe 30 who just hate my guts. Because I said something that they didn't like, and then I'm dead.
You're very careful with your words, though. I want to encourage you with that.
Thank you.
I mean, I've only watched this season of your YouTube critiques, and I didn't even watch all of them. But sometimes you've had to say something hard, and I just admire the way you phrased it because it wasn't like harmful. It was still like encouraging, but you're like, well, maybe it would have been better if you position it in a very like teacher encouraging way.
Yeah, thanks. I try to because I know they're watching.
Correct.
So that makes it really hard. And it's never the people that I'm hardest on that have a problem with me, ever. I remember this one guy, I'm blanking on his name right now. Man, because my job is on the channel is I have to give honest critique. I have to give my honest opinion. And I can say it's just my opinion. I could be wrong, all this preamble, but I have to still give my opinion, what I really think, or I'm not doing my job. And I just didn't think this guy belonged talent-wise. And I said that pretty much every single week. And this was like 5 years ago. He messaged me the other day. He's like, hey, man, just thinking about you. How are you doing? And we talked. We're like good buds. And he was like, I honestly agree with you. I don't know how I got here. I'm just trying to make the best of it. But it's never those people.
But you know what? It goes back to that competitor mindset. If you're really always trying to beat your PR and you're like, I want to be the best, you're also the person that's like, please tell me what I could do better. Like, actually, I want to know because that's the only way I'll get better is the people that are defensive and usually lower skilled and not competitive that are like, ooh, that hurt. I mean, it hurts, but it's like the right kind of pain.
And he was a former college football player.
Oh, gosh.
So to your point, 100%.
Yeah. So I know you said you love the variety of all three, but like, what are you like kind of excited about like next 10 years? Like is it still the mix of it or is it coming out with, I know you just came out with a worship project and I think that's super exciting. I would love for you to tell us how we can listen to it. But my curiosity point is like, what is it? Or do you not even have a plan A? Maybe because you're so used to saying, hey, God, whatever it becomes.
I definitely have a vision and a very loosely held vision of like, I would love for this to happen. And I imagine this is what you're doing, God, but who knows? And I'm down with whatever you want. But in those three like pillars, I've got for the performing side, the music side, I've got a great like dream come true label like really believed in me. I pitched this worship project to a bunch of different labels and I was like, hey, I'm going to do this independently, but before I do, if you want to jump in, that would be cool. If not, that's fine. I'm going to do it anyway. And everyone that I talked to, they're like, cool, you're going the like Christian artist route. I was like, no, it's more of a side project. I really am like mostly passionate about my original songs, which I would describe are songs that I write about this world that I live and this like God's creation that I observe through redeemed eyes. And so they wouldn't fall in the Christian genre on Spotify. They're more R&B and soul and singer-songwriter John Mayer type stuff. That's what I'm most interested in. And every label is like, oh, well, we can't do both. Like you can't. If you want to do the Christian thing, we know exactly what to do. If you want to do this thing, let somebody else. And this label, NCS, said, we love both. Let's do it. Didn't even like hesitate. Like, let's go. And we were supposed to so I just did this worship album, which is like a piano vocal live album of me just playing household name songs like Goodness of God, How Great Are You, Lord, Graves into Gardens, Great Are You, Lord, I Could Sing of Your Love Forever. And we were gonna do another one where it was a full band because the version is very like soul jazz fusion stuff. It's just like how I commune with God harmonically, the chords that I play when it's just me and him. You know, I'm just singing to him. I'm not leading the congregation. And we were gonna do a full band thing. And the business mind says, yeah, let's do that because this project's going really well. It came out a couple weeks ago. And they were just like, yeah, but what are you more interested in? Like, what excites you more? I was like, my originals that have absolutely zero like
traction or something.
And they're like, let's do that. I'm like, okay, great. I was scared I was going to have to convince you.
Though.
Dude, the best. So that's what's next. And then teaching, I really love teaching workshops like to church creative teams. But I really love like university master classes, like just going almost like a pop-up master class on emotional connection to a song as a singer, music theory in a practical way, just singing in general, like all these different master classes on those pieces of the art form. And then preaching, I really feel like I have a unique perspective and a message and a gift to communicate to the kids and the adults that don't really want to be at church.
And that's not like you're not at a church preaching every Sunday. It's just more like a guest preacher.
Correct.
People bring you in. Okay. Love your talk on you when you said it today. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. About what people told you about getting married.
Yeah.
And then actually what you experienced.
Yeah, well, it's like when you get married or when you're engaged and you tell people that you're engaged, it's funny. The only people that really speak up to tell you what they think about are the people who have just the like very passively aggressive against it, kind of like, oh, you're getting married. Okay, that I'm like, what are you doing right now? Like, why are you
like just assuming negativity?
Why are you? Well, it's sacrifice. I mean, your life changes forever. How old are you? It's pretty young. Okay. All right. It's great though. It's great. Marriage is great. Totally worth every sacrifice. All of the many dark, deep sacrifices. I'm like, what is going on?
Like they basically are saying it sucks.
I was just ready to be like, I don't know, in the trenches, just fighting for my life, like you're starting marriage. And they're like, you think you like each other now, wait till you move in together. That was I got that all the time. My whole life I got that.
It's so unfortunate.
And so I'm like, man, I really am not looking forward to like moving in just to find out that I don't like being with her. Like that's what it sounds like. And first year of marriage is the hardest. And it's like, all right, I guess if we can just make it without getting divorced to the first year, we're good from there. Like what? And then wait till you have kids. Just like, what is going on? And then we finally get married and we move in together and I'm just waiting for the calamity. And 1 week goes by and the calamity never comes. And I'm like, I mean, this is pretty great for you, right? And she's like, this is pretty great. I'm like, okay. But it's only been a week. Like super newlyweds. We just wait it out a little more. I'll get mad at the way you brush your teeth or something. A month, 2 months, 6 months. We're like, still pretty great. And then at the end of the year, 1 year anniversary, we're like, this was definitely the best year of my whole life with you. And I would say that they were right in one sense, that the first year of marriage is the hardest, because as good as it was, every year's been better. And I want more people to come out of the woodwork to talk about that instead of how hard it is.
That's awesome. So if you were talking to a young adult right now that's been like, waiting, and it's like, I just have to be cautious. It's a big deal. I don't want to make a wrong decision. I'm nervous. Like, what would you say to a young adult about choosing that?
Chanley and I, like, best case scenario marriage, have loved each other. We're best friends. Everything feels just so great. And both of us, we admitted this to each other like years after we were already married. Not of us on the wedding day were 80% sure that it was a good idea. It's still a jump. In my experience, it was not this fantastical romantic moment of I'm sure I know that I know, and I don't have any doubt. I have felt that before with other girls, and I was wrong every time, by the way. With her, it was way more, it was just different. It was more logical, and this is just me. For me, it was more logical. It just made too much sense to not take that jump. But even when I did, I was still like, I've never made a decision for my forever self before, you know? But to that young adult who's thinking about it, might sound like too methodical, but like go through all, like check the boxes. Like, do they love the Lord? Do they love you? Are they selfless? And do you guys get along? I'm sure there are more that could be added to that, but as long as everything makes sense and you love each other and you're willing to put each other first and die to self, you're going to have a great time. It's going to be a fantastic marriage. And I will say also, if they don't check those boxes, some of the best decisions I've ever heard people make are calling off engagements. Anytime I hear someone say, yeah, they called off an engagement, my first thought is, wow, they're really brave, and thank goodness, you know?
I said that to someone this week when they called to cancel their tuxedo rental. And I was like, oh, what's going on? Called off the wedding. And it was like my first go-to was like, well, I'm sure it's been a hard week, but it sounds like it's probably for the better. You know, like this is better now than later.
Yep.
Like if I don't know your story. And they were like, definitely.
And that's when it's right. Because even when you're 80% sure and you're like, I'm still nervous. Well, they said calling off the wedding is a good thing. Like maybe it's always going to be clearly like, this is the right decision. Even if you don't feel 100%, you always know deep down what you should be, like what needs to happen. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. I love though that you're encouraging people. It's like, hey, like marriage can be awesome, especially when you choose somebody that checks those boxes. Because here we are 21 years later, Jordan and I'm like, we were best friends before we dated. Then we dated. And then it's like our best friendshipness has just carried into everything else we do. And so while it's not always easy, and I would lie if I told you it's just great all the time, you know, like running businesses together and raising kids and having the highs and lows. It's like we've been through like hardship in just circumstances, right? But we've always chosen each other even through the circumstances. And we've said above all else, like we're gonna stay unified, you know. Like you probably don't know this about our story, but I mean, our kid has had cancer. We've had like business trials. We've had highs and lows with the economy, you know, just life stuff. Mm-hmm. And through it all, we've always said, okay, like at least if we're good, like if we come home and we're good, like the other stuff we can figure out.
Yeah.
And that really does change the dynamic of a marriage. And honestly, like it's been fun. It's been great. Like I can't imagine living this life without a partner. It's been really, really fabulous. And I'm blessed. I know not everybody has met their person or still praying for that or whatever have you. But I'm like, I feel so super blessed that I've been able to walk it with a partner that has been like my best friend through it all.
Yes. It's absolutely the best investment of time and energy you'll ever have is the person you're married to. Because when I'm 90, she's going to be way more important. Our relationship and our friendship and our marriage is going to be way more important and will affect my life more than any other possible thing that I have, more than any house or number in my bank account or anything else. It will always be her. And whoever you're married to will always be the most important thing on the planet outside of God.
It's real. As we close down, I want to keep talking, but I know we're on a time frame. We have an event to do, Clark. Tell people where we can find if they want to hang out with you more online. Where can they find you?
I'm really active on Instagram. That's kind of been the main thing that I've really honed in on and really focused on. The music is wherever anyone listens to music. So Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes. Mm-hmm. iTunes would be great because you actually have to buy the music. So that's more helpful. Mm-hmm. But yeah, anywhere you listen to music, and my website's clarkbeckham.com. All the live shows that I do, whether I'm touring or doing random events, those are all there. So Instagram, clarkbeckham.com, and then wherever you listen to music, you will find me.
Love it. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
It means a lot. All right. See you next time. Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe to the show, rate, review, and share with a friend. Also, follow the Something New Show on Instagram and Facebook. If you want a fuller experience, watch the show on YouTube to help you create a life worth celebrating.